What up, internet? It's your boy once again, Rant, back with another audio commentary for my short film in the apocalypse world, the third one, Apocalypse: The Student, the Caretaker, and the Animal. I'll set this one up really quick and then kind of go into it. This one actually doesn't feature any characters in the screenplay or graphic novel. However, it is set in that world. I was approached by a friend of my brother's whose daughter wants to get into acting, and asked if I would make a short film for her in it. You'll see her shortly. And so I came up with this idea, and we actually shot this here at my house. And again, to keep with the themes of each one of these, trying to explore different techniques or styles. This one I went, Sam Mendes was my inspiration. If you don't know who Sam Mendes is, he's done that, and that. Yeah, I think you'll see that in the style in terms of the camera doesn't move. Most of it was all on sticks except for the very ending. And this is also cool to see that this one you actually get to witness the rapture happening, whereas the previous two ones, the hooker and the drunk, take place after. So here you kind of see what happens. Yeah, I guess let's dive in. Play. So first of all, this was our definitely highest budgeted short that we did. It was about $4 grand altogether. The music that you're hearing is from a band I just reached out to, DM'd on Instagram. They're called Blade of Grass. I used 3 of their songs in it. And then also you'll probably see that the sound design, the sound mix is a lot higher quality. It's because I had my friend do the sound mix. I mean, paid him, but he very, very minimally. Now, this is important because this was the very first take. This is the very first shot that we had. The DP and I had set up probably 4 different or other angles of coverage that we're going to get for this one scene. Now, what happened here is compliment or to Micah Parker, who's playing the dad or the caretaker. He came and just nailed this. I mean, he nailed the entire performance, but just his bravado and his attitude. I mean, I was literally behind the camera right now, just smiling so big because, and that who cooked the steak? Who cooked the steak? I cooked the steak. That's all him, man. He just improvised that on the get. So that was it. That was one take, and I said moving on. I move very fast. Probably a downfall, or eventually might become a downfall, but he just nailed it, and I was like, I got it. I know what I have. You'll notice there's a lot more production design in this as well. I wanted more elaborate colors, but red kind of became the theme of it, and so we just kind of went with it. Our wall is naturally painted red in the dining room, so. And Micah again brought in another line here towards the end. I love this thing about history, and if you notice the slow push in, that's very Sam Mendes. It's we tried to frame, have the shots very well composed. I love the line I wrote about the history, and then Micah added in at the end, that was his idea, about what happened to your mom. I mean, he just killed it. He's an extremely talented actor, and so that's fuck, I forget her name, but that's the girl. You know, she was nervous to see, and we had like a crew of about 10 or 12 of us on set, and her dad had never seen her being exposed, so they were very curious to see how it all, you know, the process of what it takes to actually just produce something that looks as simple as this, you know, but there's a lot of work that went into this. So the premise I wanted, I wanted the audience to basically, I wanted to try to trick them. So we obviously know that he's the student. We assume he's the caretaker, and then when he says go and feed the animals, it's okay, they have animals. And then we show, shout out to Gilbert, our pig. I wanted the audience to assume that, oh, she's just going to feed the animals, pigs, chickens, whatever have you. If you'll notice those quick cuts in between, and even the music in this is very Sam Mendes. Just those quick transition cuts, and then we're having two reveals happen at once. So right here, see, that's where the audience questions, like, wait a minute, this cute little girl who seems so innocent just tried to kick that pig. And so we're cutting back and forth between these two reveals. The first one being, oh, he's a fucking Nazi, so he's not good. By the way, this is our basement. It's so packed full of shit. We cleared it all out, and I had the idea to spray paint song titles of songs. You'll see Closer, Epic, People Are People, Hey Man, Nice Shots, all those kind of things. So this is our second reveal of where she go, and we don't know, as an audience, we don't know what's coming out. And shout out to Katja, who came in and just murdered this part so well. That, like, I wanted the audience to think, is this another animal? Is this like a deformed thing? No, it's just this young girl. Really big props to Katja, because this, again, I think this was the only take that we used for this. Like, she just nailed it, and I love that she took her time. She didn't rush anything, which was great. It just worked so well for it, and we really dirtied her up. Yeah, so now the audience knows that, okay, so we have a Nazi and his daughter, and they're holding this girl in her basement. Here is the third song for Blade of Grass. I don't know, what can I tell you? This is now where we know the caretaker. I don't know where I came up with the title. The student was the first part, and I just thought the student, the caretaker, the animal. It's a long, obviously Katja here, she's the animal. It's a long title, but I don't know, I just thought it was cool. She really does a great job, and we added mist into, this was actually, we shot it during daylight. This is actually the first scene that we filmed, and we added like a fog machine in there to give like some texture and add some depth into the, so this is like a big, you know, flashy special effects thing. That took a little bit of planning in terms of like, okay, we need a blank slate, and then we need a shot of her and that, and we kind of did that on you know, on the flyer at the moment. I love the scream. I love the build up with the music. I really like this one. Micah really not carried her, but like he really allowed her to be comfortable going there in that scene. That's the note of an experienced or you know, actor, or somebody who knows their craft. If you know you're going into a scene with a less experienced actor, you know that you can kind of hold their hand and guide them through it. Now, I really wish I should have pushed for it, but I wanted like smoke to like hit out from the windows and dirt and dust fly in. We did a test of it and it just didn't work, and we were time crunched. We shot this all in one night or one time period, and there you go. That's it. Boy, 9 months flies fast. Savannah, that's her name. I'm really proud of this one. I think it's the best. It's not my favorite, but I think it's the best in terms of its production value or production level. Rick Larimore, who did the sound design mix, that's my friend. Yeah, my favorite is still the hooker. I just love the grittiness and the gorgeousness of it. But I think this one's really, really well done. Again, Micah's performance is phenomenal in there. And on top of that, I achieved exactly what I was going for. I wanted to replicate Shawn Mendes' style, and I believe I did that very, very well, given our budget and things of that nature. So there you go. There you have it. Okay, so this is the struggle of not having anyone else behind the camera. I just went on an epic rant in terms of storytelling and the difference between story and spectacle and those types of things, and I'm gonna try to recreate that right now because the camera stopped, because I have a Canon 7D and it doesn't roll for more than like 10 or 12 minutes. Just kind of one of its major flaws. So Aristotle wrote a book called Poetics. And basically what he did was, at the time, he looked around and said, why is this play, and this is the time of like the Iliad and the Odyssey and things like that, why is this play entertaining to people and why is this one not? And he basically just kind of went through and he wrote down and developed a list of 7 things in order of importance that make a great story. And the first one is like character, and then structure, and blah, 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 whatever. The last one is spectacle, and spectacle is he decided was the least important thing of telling a great story. I keep using this word story, and I'm really trying to figure out how to portray what I'm thinking, or how to describe it, I guess, because it's such a intangible thing and word. I keep saying tell a great story, and I just think people are, well, I know people are confused. So basically what's happened now in Hollywood and with the majority of stories or screenplays and movies and everything like that is the spectacle. It's been flipped. So spectacle has now become the most important part. And so the example I was using is, I'm not saying spectacle isn't important, but spectacle is the icing on the cake. Let me give you an example. Jim Cameron's Terminator 2 Judgment Day, right? The scene towards the end of Act 4, where they're setting the bombs to blow up the building, all the cops surround the place, and maybe I'll cut the footage of it right here.
I'll take you off the police.
Hey, wait, you swore!
Trust me.
So that's some of the greatest spectacle that's a feast for the eyes. That's what the audience loves to see. That's why we go see movies in a theater. That's the big thing. Now, the reason behind it, and people might just think, oh, it's enjoyable or entertaining because it's spectacle. It's a big action scene, a minigun firing, everything like that. But why Cameron is so great about his action scenes is that he's developed those characters and fed the audience enough information, given them enough information, and ironically enough, done it with a character who is technically a robot, but yet just based on his previous actions, on conflicts that have arisen throughout leading up to that moment. Here's the great thing that he does is when he says, I'll take care of it, Arnold, I'm going to take care of it. The audience, as an audience, we based on everything that we've learned about the character leading up to then, is we don't want him to be a bad guy. We don't, and just like John Connors says, wait, you promised, and he says, trust me. So the audience is left with this moment of anticipation of, well, he said trust him, and he seems like he's been on a good guy this entire time, but he's also this killing machine, and he has this minigun and grenade launcher. Like, what's going to happen here? And then Cameron throws the spectacle at you, and it's glorious. It's beautiful. And then at the end, the audience is able to actually if the Terminator killed any humans during that scene, the audience wouldn't be happy. It wouldn't be okay. And but the fact that we get to feast, our eyes get to feast on that spectacle, and then immediately after, our hearts and our heads are reassured, if you will, about what we thought this character, who we thought this character was. The fact that we're able to visually feast that in and then morally be happy, that's storytelling. That's great storytelling. And that's putting spectacle last. When you put spectacle last, the spectacle, it's so much more enjoyable, whereas on the flip side, Thor coming down and smashing his hammer and blowing up a bunch of, just the I know where I was going. What got me on this kick is what I'm doing is I'm trying to, with these apocalypse shorts and the whole apocalypse world and the graphic novels, and I have prequel stories and all that kind of things, and the characters are cross-pollinating, is I'm copying Disney and Warner Brothers and their MCU and their DCU to a T. But I'm doing it based off of characters, and it's just like how the comic books worked before. But the thing where they're lost is that the studios are putting spectacle first, and I just believe, like, I want to see a $10 million budget Iron Man movie. That would be enjoyable to me, and I know Universal is trying to do it with their Dark Universe, but that kind of hit a halt. So again, I'm ripping from the headlines here. I don't think anything I'm doing is that it's pretty obvious. But where it differentiates is that I'm putting work into the story, and the characters, and the really using the spectacles as as I mentioned, like Cameron did in T2, you know, as an exclamation point when needed. It's like using too many emojis in a text, I guess, something like that. I don't know. I had a much better rant before the camera went off, and so I'm trying to recreate that moment, and I don't think it's coming across as well. But anyway, regardless, if you're watching this, if you've watched up until now, thank you so much. Please, please, please subscribe. Share this with anybody who is a fellow creative or filmmaker, storyteller. And please comment, leave a comment, tell me what you think. I'll read them all, I'll answer all of them. If you have questions about the short film, if you have questions about my, my take on cinema and storytelling, things like that, engage in conversation. I'd be more than happy, more than willing to do it. I thank you from the bottom of my heart watching this. Rhino Rider out.